Travis, Gary, how you guys doing? Leah, hello. Michael, Christine, how you guys doing? Rita, hello. Paula, hello. How you guys all doing? JC better get here. Helen, hello. Plate. I think that's how you pronounce it. How you doing? Okay. I guess JC snoozing. Swamp Watch. 6/27/19. I my battery is running low, so I had to plug in, which puts the camera at a kind of a really weird angle here. I think it's okay. My blood pressure's high, Gary. It's a little bit high. I worked today and you know help JC get some Litecoin and get his ledger set up. Anyway, it's a little bit high, so I'm gonna try and stay calm. You know, I can, and it'll depend on how long we go, how calm I can stay. Cindy Lou, hello. Kevin, hello. Okay, so anyway, talking about the camera angle. So I'm plugged in. So and the other thing is, I had somebody last week, I guess, earlier this week, request that I try and get a more straight on shot. So and I hope everybody understands. If you're looking for broadcast quality, you probably want to go somewhere else. We're definitely low tech, low quality as far as the broadcast quality goes. Hopefully, the information is worth staying. Randy, how you doing? Randy Majors, Bull Riding Machine. Okay, guys. We had some debates, I guess, last night, and where I guess they're going again tonight. There's so many of these clowns. They had to split them up, I guess. I posted, I think, a Mark Dice video this morning that I think, hit the nail on the head. These guys are. It's like, let them have a debate every night. They're going to be commercials for hashtag walkaway. The Democrats are leaving in droves. We don't have to drain the swamp, and it's going to be a landslide, but the swamp is draining. This Nexium Raniere case is huge. It's huge because it opens the floodgates for all these other pedophiles to be rounded up. So there's a green light going right now. I don't know if you guys have seen, but just in the last 2 days, they had huge pedophile ring bust. I think one was pedophile, and one I think was child porn. And it might be 3. There might have been 2 pedophile rings and a child porn ring. But bottom line is, anybody who says nothing's happening is watching too much CNN, because there's a lot going on. And I'm telling you guys, every single day, I'm getting more and more from more and more sources that 4th of July is going to be big, that somehow JFK Jr. is going to be involved. Vincent Fusca, I've been posting it, guys. I can feel my blood pressure going up. If you look at the videos on Vincent Fusca, I don't know. And then you look at the interaction. I posted another video from, oh God, the great gal that does those Q videos with Vincent Fusca. I posted one this morning, and she's got the interaction. She's also got the lip reading of President Trump and Melania and Caroline and JFK Jr. They got JFK Jr. drawing his initials in the air. He's standing right behind President Trump, who's interacting with him through these rallies. If it's not him, I mean, the only other explanation here, and I just don't see it. I don't see, it seems like a lot of work for what to me wouldn't seem like that much bang. But if they were trying to rattle the deep state by threatening this and them thinking that he's still around, but the bottom line for them right now, they could care less if JFK Jr.'s here or not, because they're running for their lives. That's below 100 on their list of their most pressing issues right now. Trust me, they're trying to figure out how to stay alive, because for most of them, they're guilty of treason, and we know what the penalty is for treason. And I believe that they are going to punish these criminals to the fullest extent of the law. I think they have to do it. I mean, we can't let this happen again. And if they get a slap on the wrist and a couple of years in jail, we're going to be in the same spot. I mean, we can't. That can't happen. There's no question. I don't think, by the research I've done and just the tone that Gray, if you want to know, it's on the, anybody's looking for that video I was just talking about, just go to the Watchman page. It'll be close to the top because I just posted it this morning, but it's posted on the Watchman page. Anyway, bottom line is, with JFK Jr., I just don't see President Trump using him that way. There's a lot of different things he could do if he wants to honor him. I just don't see any way it's not him. It just doesn't make any sense any other way. And when you look at the evidence, you can't deny the interaction between Fusca, who they're calling Fusca, and President Trump. It's like Q says, there are no coincidences. Just go back to the beginning when Q said, "You'll never believe who I am." Just think about that. Could you find anybody less likely that you would guess? I can't. I mean, you're going to think, right? You're going to pick somebody who's on the scene, at least who's alive, right? So, not in a million years would anybody pick JFK Jr. unless they're on the inside, right? Unless they already know about it. And then when you think about this, so there's a story that that JFK Jr. went to Clinton when Clinton was president, and he brought all the evidence about the whole deal, who killed his father and his uncle, and basically Clinton gave him the bum's rush. And I think it was at this point that the plan that we're taught that Q is always talking about. I think everybody assumes that the plan is President Trump's plan, but I believe the plan is JFK Jr.'s plan. That he saw at that point that the only way to take these guys out was going to be either a military coup, which would be the last resort, or take them out from the inside like they've been doing to us, which means they got to get somebody in to the Oval Office. And I don't know whether it's almost like they can see the future. And let that sink in a little bit. I think there's a lot coming out about Tesla and President Trump's uncle, who, and I don't think most people realize this, President Trump's uncle was a scientist, I think he taught, he's a professor at Yale or Harvard, I can't remember, big school. When Tesla died, they sent President Trump's uncle in to go through all of his files, all of his research. And there's stories that have been floating around ever since about technology that he discovered and then passed on to President Trump. There's all sorts of crazy stories about time travel. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a lot of stories out there about it. And when you look at how all this has played out, you have to think that God was sending them help. God was sending them messages. Somehow, I think they knew, even though, I mean, now think about this. When Clinton was in office, they were if you looked at it, you would think they were invincible, the deep state, the swamp, because they were so entrenched at that time, and it only got worse from there, that how could you even think that you could do this, that you could pull this off? Even with some help on the inside, it's a daunting task. But I think when you look at when all of this comes out, and it's going to be something close to this, that the plan, I think, came true almost to a T, that they overcame overwhelming odds, and in the process, and I've been saying this for years now, that it's mankind's greatest accomplishment. If we defeat this evil, It's our greatest accomplishment, and I believe this is the Armageddon that the Bible talks about. This battle that I believe is spiritual because of President Trump getting elected. That if God had intended there to be that violence and destruction physically on earth, I think electing President Trump changed that. And the violence and the judgment's going to come to the wicked, to the evil, to the swamp, to the globalist. And we're going to get returned to us sevenfold what's been taken from us. And just think about that. Think about the numbers. I've been talking about that, and think about what the Bible says. Like I said, I think the numbers I've been telling you guys are conservative. And I think everything that we've seen, everything that we've heard, even what the Bible says, backs it up. If JFK comes out the 4th of July, game over. I know that everybody's going to say, and I'm going to say the same thing, that we don't want to let our guard down. We don't want to take anything for granted. We certainly don't want to do those things. But I'm telling you guys, what is going to stop? And if he comes out, whether they announce it on the 4th or not, you can bet your bottom dollar if JFK Jr. Comes out on the 4th of July at some point, and he is alive, at some point in the next few months, he's going to be announced as the vice presidential running mate of President Trump. That's part of the plan. President Trump, followed by JFK Jr., probably followed by one of the Trump kids, possibly. But just think about that. That gives us for sure who's going to, we know President Trump is going to win. And then if it's JFK Jr., who in the world, especially the new world, is going to beat JFK Jr. with all the evil removed at that point? Because think about it. He's going to get a pretty clean slate by the time he gets into office, right? But that will have given us 8 years of everything that we're going to have to go through. Like I've said, we're probably going to have some rough patches. But in those 8 years, you can bet we're going to be soaring by the time that JFK Jr. got in there. Which is basically, 5 years from now, right? And then we're going to have 8 years with him. So so we're basically going to have a total of 16 years. That's a lot of good that can get done when you look at the pace that they work at. And just think, that pace is going to quicken after the resistance is removed, after the evil is gone. Just think about how that frees up the whole world. We've got no more of these false flag attacks around the world. We've got no more of these school shootings. Just watch what happens to the crime rate after this goes down, after the swamp is drained, after these monsters are removed from societies around the world. How that changes the world. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I just, the only to me, the only alternate possibility is that for some reason they think that the timing isn't right, and they do not announce on the 4th. But I believe 90+% that JFK Jr. is alive and kicking, and that at some point he's going to be revealed. So my fingers are crossed for the 4th, but you know, it's in God's hands, guys. There's a reason that it's gone on this long. I mean, this thing could have blown up years ago. And the reason is, if you know, because God's handling this now. It's in His hands. It's not even in President Trump's hands at this point, I don't believe. I mean, ultimately, he's going to be the one that makes a phone call. He's going to be the one that pulls the trigger. But God has been guiding him through this. You can't be right this many times. You know, it just doesn't work. The world doesn't work that way. It's phenomenal what he's done. And it's not on his own. And I give President Trump all the credit in the world. But he's got a lot of good help in the NSA and military intelligence and the Marines. But obviously, the biggest part of that is the help he's getting from God. So, like I said, he wouldn't be alive today if God didn't have His hand on him, protecting him. Moving on to the economy, Dow was down 10, Nasdaq was up 57, Bitcoin. What I see here with the cryptos is making me think you got the big money making the last push to drive this stuff down before they buy it all up. So don't worry about these numbers. Bo Polney said we're going to see a couple of, this is going to happen. It's going to happen now. It's going to happen again in July. This is a buying opportunity. I guarantee you, by tomorrow, unless it keeps dropping, which fine by me, let it drop some more. I'm buying at least 10 or 15 more today or tomorrow, depending on, again, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the price and buy when I think it's right? Buy low, sell high. So this is a buying opportunity, guys. Bitcoin was down 166. I think 166 bucks. I think that's right. It's 11,303. Litecoin was down 1467. It was 1754. Gold was up 665 to 1418. Silver was up 4 cents to 1533. So silver, great price still. Guys, if you got the money to buy silver and Litecoin, don't wait. We're days or weeks from the prices changing dramatically. Yeah, so I think the guy, I've posted a couple of Abel Danger videos, and there's a couple of guys that call in, Mad Dog and 107. Okay, 107. 107 in Gematria is 17. 17 is Q. So my guess is maybe that this one could be Q or part of the Q team, and that Mad Dog is JFK Jr. My guess. We'll see. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? I think I'm going to go to... Yeah, Pence is going down with the swamp. Let's see what we got for questions here. Okay. Clay, got it. Yeah, let's not talk about my blood pressure. Can you guys hear me okay now? It looks like Helen thinks could be louder. Yeah, I think the 4th of July is going to be great. Christine, there's a testimonial for colloidal silver, guys. Get it from Mike Jen, man. Pretty cheap compared to what it cost you in the store. Jennifer Mack, that's it. Jennifer Mack. You guys should all be subscribed to Jennifer Mack's channel on YouTube, as well as Greg Hunter, SGT Report, X22 Report. You guys know most of them. Hello, Carolyn. Yeah, Pence is Gray. What are you smoking? Pence is not going to be the next president. Pence is part of the swamp, buddy. Yeah, Gray, you need to do some more homework, buddy. Pence is dirty. He's a pedophile. He's been in child trafficking for years. Everybody in the world knows about it. Remember, he got an envelope at the Bush 41 funeral. He's as dirty as they come. Uh, let's see. Simona, she contacted Mike for silver coin. Okay, I'm not sure what this is about. If you're asking about silver, about buying silver, you can get it online through was it SD Bullion or JM Bullion online, if that's what you're talking about. If not, message me and we'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I might be buying some as soon as I get off if they're going back up again. Yeah, Gray. Yeah, Pence is as dirty as they come. Yeah, and wait till you see some of the video on that jackass. And that's too kind of word to use. He's a monster, and he's definitely going down. Um, yeah, JM and SD. S is in Sam, D is in Dan, SD Bullion. Online, they've got great prices. I would call both of them, or go online. You can, I guess, look at all the prices. Um, I'm just gonna let's see. Yeah, the dimes, guys. I also recommend so you get 1 ounce rounds, just generic, whatever's cheap. Usually, I get the Indian head buffaloes. You also want 1964 or older dimes. They're Roosevelt dimes. They're 90% silver. get at least a couple $100 of those. If things get bad and you need to use your silver to barter with, by that time, silver is probably going to be over $1,000 an ounce. A 1 ounce round isn't going to do you a lot of good if you need a loaf of bread. So at least the dimes are a little bit smaller and are going to be easier to, I think, everybody knows what they are. Everybody knows they're 90% silver. So they're going to be easily barterable. And you can always, cut them up too and make them smaller. I only see that being necessary if we get to like a Venezuela situation. Otherwise, we'll probably be dealing with dealers when we're buying and selling. But if it goes south, the banks close, the stores close, we get into a worse scenario than I'm thinking is coming, then we could end up having to use silver like they had to use in Venezuela. But I don't think it's coming to that. We're pretty close. We're going to find out pretty soon, I think. But I'm not thinking it's going to go there. I just want to go through one more thing, and kind of it's really hard to analyze a lot of this stuff unless you're looking kind of at like the big picture to tie it all together. And it's really curious, and it makes it much easier to kind of walk people through this awakening process they have to go through, so that they can be as ready as they can be for what's coming. It makes it much easier if you can kind of connect the dots. And when you talk about globalism and how this all happened, because that's what's going to be the hardest thing for people to comprehend is how the hell did it get so widespread? It's more widespread than anyone could imagine. That's just a person on the street. It goes through almost every government in the world, through most industry. We're talking about the elite in the corporations. Almost all those guys, people, are up into this pedophile network. It's part of being. I think it's part of selling your soul to the devil. Is what I basically believe, that those people have crossed the line, and that they're basically now making a pact with the devil. You can kind of see that when you just take, for example, our history from the Federal Reserve up to today, and you look at what they tried to do with the Depression. What's happening right now? Papa Bush, Prescott Bush, 41's dad tried a coup. So they tried to weaken us again with the economy, right? Then what he tried to do was overthrow the government back then, and he wanted to institute basically a Nazi type government. And when that didn't work, then look what happens. So we're talking about early 30s. Then they move it to Germany, and guess who's there? They got Hitler. And they try to run it through Hitler. What happens there? They lose the Second World War. Okay, what happens next? Project Paperclip. They move all of those assets they had built, developed. I'm talking about the human assets. All these scientists, all of these administrative or high up military that were entrenched in that, and basically what their plan was. So it was very easy then to move them all right into the United States. And then they branched them all out. People think this was just the scientists they drug into the United States, but it goes much deeper than that. And then bringing us to where we are right now. When you look at it and think about it, Obama was our Hitler. Just think about the correlation, the frenzy around both of them. And then what do we have next? What's God's answer? President Trump. When I saw Obama, I mean, number one, my first impression was, how come this guy got a free pass? Because I was seeing things that didn't make sense, things that were the things weren't done properly, that normally would have been a big deal in the press. Things like the whole birth certificate. You know, to me, it was like, wait a minute, why is the press so quick to knock this rumor down? Shouldn't they be the ones that are finding out if it's true or not? Because this guy came out of nowhere, right? To the general public. He'd been in the works for years. In the system. But when you look at the frenzy that he built, he talked a great game, charismatic, and he was obviously a great orator. And then you have kind of Obama. Oh, can you guys, we good? I'm going to go on like we're good. Let me know if, well, whatever. Okay. So, bottom line, what I'm getting at here is that I think when you see that what happened over this over 100 years. Well, no, not quite 100. That's bear with me, guys, because numbers are one of the things I'm having trouble with after the stroke. But anyway, it'd be close to 100 years from when Papa Bush would have had to, about 100 years ago, right? It had been in the late teens through the early 1930s, and then going on from here to Germany. It just shows you how these people work, and that for them to do this, just think about the network they would have had to make this happen. Because, okay, all right, guys. So if you might find a chance to kind of use that, interesting to piece it together to show people the progression and how it all ties in. Remember, when you're reaching out, really push the unity. Unity is what's going to get us through this. Everybody working together. Black, white, gay, straight, liberal, conservative. We don't want to rub people's nose in this as we move through this process. We're right, they're wrong. But everything that's coming is positive. You know, again, might have a rough patch. We've all lived through rough patches. Bottom line is we're headed to the right place, in the right direction. So be positive. Beware of the cognitive dissonance. You'll see that glazed over look, that pause on the other end of the line. You got to back off if you start to see that. Now, again, that's going to be our biggest danger through this, is going to be cognitive dissonance. It's a lot of information, a lot of it negative when we talk about the pedophilia and stuff and what they've done in our government, but it's going to be in their face. There's going to be nowhere to hide from this, and we've got to be ready for that because it's going to be like a floodgates open when this goes down. I'm going to try and go through some of the, if we got any more questions here before I finish up. And then I'm going to, yeah, that colloidal silver is awesome, guys. Everybody should have some. Okay. All right, guys. So remember, please like and share these live chats, but also as much Christian and patriotic content as you can. When we do that, it's planting seeds. Hopefully somebody else is going to see what we post. They're going to open it. It's going to plant a seed. They may not agree with it. They may not understand it, but it's going to be there. When everything else blows up, they're going to be able to go back to that, and it's going to give them, I think, a little peace of mind that they at least they understand partially. Wait a minute, Dan or Gary or Travis said something about